Hey there, Jackie. We don't have anyone else in here yet for the office hours, so
Hi, Katie.
hello.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you have any questions right now for MK, feel free to ask them, and we will wait to see if anyone else joins us.
Yeah, sure. I just number one, I want to say I'm very happy to be in this program. Definitely helped me to look from a different perspective, right? From the AI technology side and also from the leadership side. I happen to, find a similar interest actually before I found this program at MIT. Yeah, I'm thinking, yeah, because I do computer science all the time, and I happen to get a degree and master degree in leadership. So I think why not combine technology and leadership and like AI, and then I found MIT is interesting.
Yeah, good approach.
Yeah, the only thing I probably want to ask that I'm actually this is my first time doing this purely online class. So I found number one is that because of my own schedule, right? I'm working from home and have a lot of other projects. I don't feel as much engaged as I was in the physical classroom. So I don't know how about other students they're feeling. Number two is that because the content is so great, and I do want to have more discussion and team discussion with my own group and also the bigger group. But I don't know how can I do that, or how is that any future possibility that we can do something different. Yeah, I know right now the setting is that everybody do their own study and then we do online discussion, but is there any other thing planning?
Yeah, so thank you for both of your questions. For the first one, of course, online learning cannot be 100% similar to physically going to a university or doing a training. Yeah. I myself been working remotely for more than 3 years. And even before Corona, it was like my preference. I do not want to go to the office. But after a couple of years now, I'm really bored at home. Especially for university, I'm seeing the younger generation deprived from the opportunity. They stay at home and study, and the results are actually, comparing to us, it's poor because of the lack of that communication, either between the teachers or between the students among themselves. And even university went really soft, given that the exchange between people can be weak, to put it in simple words. Yeah. So any online course that you will have, it will always lack the component of actually and physically going to a boot camp or a university. But for us, we try to host these open office hours. I know most of this is an executive education course, so most of the people are already working full-time jobs. And if you are in leadership position and most of the learners are already, they will have really tight schedules. So every week for most of ESME learning programs and MIT courses, we have the open office hours, not only to explain the capstone project assignment, but for us to engage with the learners and for the learners to engage with each other. But given the fact that we have, I think, at least 15 different time zones, it's really hard to put everybody together. And we schedule it at this time because most learners, it will be their lunch break at this time. And it's middle of the week. It's not a Monday, and also it's not a Friday. So after running this program several times, and we have many other programs with ESME Learning, this is one of the most convenient times. So last week we have 10 learners, and the whole class is 50 learners. So it was a record. And we do not make these sessions mandatory, like I said, given the time zones. And this is a complimentary session, but that's what we actually can do online. The second thing is on REF, we have where, like in every module, every learner put their input. And I've seen your input today for module 2, and you were looking for making an actual conversation with the other learners. And I felt that's what we are actually looking for. But at least for me, I always keep in mind that the other learners are already managers who are at least doing 60 hours. I myself, I'm doing 60 to 80 hours. So I understand why people keep it to the minimum. and do not really engage, even though we are trying to do so. Now, for the previous rounds, we have hosted networking sessions. So it's like with the kickoff event when they break you into small groups and you engage with other people, not necessarily from your team. So that's, we have tried that before, but for the same reasons of the open office hours, we have low attendance. The networking sessions did not really went great, yet the major component of the program is you having your own team. So in every team, we try to put at least 3 people, 3 to 5 or 6, usually maximum of 5, but sometimes 6. And those are the people that you will actually need to contact every week at least once. So what we see that most teams, they meet once a week, usually Friday night. That's what I see in the discussions. And those, the people that you actually can talk to several times a week. But for the rest of the groups, there is no direct access unless us organizing these and hosting these sessions that we unfortunately cannot make it mandatory given different time zones, and it's a complementary thing. So even for me, I would love, so I was thinking about an idea to host a panel for most, but learners from different MIT courses can bandwagon, and most of the courses are AI courses. And we can have like a big networking session from different programs. So there will be at least the subscribers for those courses, they will exceed 200. This is one of the ideas I will be discussing with the team for the learners to actually network with each other and have more opportunities, but it's not a guarantee thing. We, in this matter, we are trying to also listen to learners. What are the ideas they can suggest? And so far, the easiest thing to do and the mandatory thing is to be with your own group with the 3 or 4 people that you are need to work on the capstone project with until the end of the program. Otherwise, like I said, we will try to introduce a new networking event. I will discuss with the team to see the feasibility. So in this program, there is 50. I know in the other programs, there is several groups, like in each program, 10 groups. Maybe if we gather all of them with one major center of interest of AI, that will happen. But I will still not compare physically going to a classroom or a boot camp to online learning, even though most of my education was actually going to university, but my professional skills that I do on everyday job, most of it's online from different educational sources.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much for all the feedback, and I really appreciate. Yeah, that's why I'm thinking is other than this class, right? I probably will explore more training from MIT, you know, or continue try to connect with the professor, you know, and all in the MIT team. That I do think the content they prepare is excellent. Yeah, that'll be wonderful for me, worthy to for sure.
Thank you for the positive feedback.
Yeah. I just wanted to add one more thing too, Jackie, is that if there's a certain content area or area of focus you're really interested on connecting with other learners on, whether it's in a specific module forum or the town square, if you want to use the @all function where you can notify everybody so they get the notification, you can say, hey, I'm really interested in learning more about this, or collaborating with individuals interested in these areas. You can then, after you connect with some people, either start up your own WhatsApp group or whatever it is, or if you get enough interest and you want to bring it forward to your success lead, who is Rachel, there is the possibility that she could create a Rift channel specific to your area of interest that anyone could join, but where you could have those discussions in a more organized place instead of just throughout the module and town square channels. So that's an option too, if you want to try to reach out to everyone and say, hey, this is what I'd like to connect on. So whether you keep it in Riff, take it out to LinkedIn, or wherever you want to do it, that would be a good way to gather interest and see who might want to join up with you.
Yeah, definitely. Actually, we have pretty good conversation within our team, in Rachel's team. And
Okay.
then we do connect to some other learner, out of this team, in LinkedIn. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm just feeling that, maybe I'm a traditional learner and a IT professional. The new one that I got from a direct conversation, like even right now, right, we don't see each other, but the response and the question and answer actually is more direct. Because the new generation, they more like the typing, a kind of delay response, right? Because you type and then after a couple of minutes, somebody responds, right? I kind of don't like that kind of a conversation. It's kind of make me, slow me down. I don't know. It's maybe on my own feeling.
I share the same feeling with you, even though I'm a millennial, I'm from the new generation, but I hate texting. The fact, like when you stated you do not want to wait for a couple of minutes until they find the message, I feel the
Yeah.
same. And like I said, I have a master's in business intelligence engineering, and my artificial intelligence, data engineering, and data science degrees, all of them are online. Now, when somebody tells me you're going to study online, I would be like, I prefer physical contact, but I take advantage of the online thing because I can finish really fast. But I really get your point. Even at work now, I prefer to go to a room and actually see people than see them on Teams, on Slack.
Yeah, that's different style, yeah. But I like the way that you describe. Yeah, thank you. By the way, we have Ben here online too. Hi, Ben.
Hello, Ben.
Hello, good afternoon, or at least it is afternoon for me here.
It's night time for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm here in LA, Los Angeles. It's morning time, 11:15. Yeah.
Oh, nice. So thank you, Kathy, for making me the host, and thank you for the response to Jackie. Yeah, all learners can write any questions they want in the town square and strike a conversation. We will not promise that other learners will respond to you. It's their choice. But what you can do is direct message the learning facilitator, me and Vish. We are two on this program. Also, you can contact Rachel, and if you want to start a fire chat with us, of course, I would be happy to do that. I'm actually a geek, so I would deep dive with you on the technical aspects and other aspects of this program. So please do not hesitate to do that. Now, for this week, we have new objectives, and we will focus on the capstone project. So if you are not with us today, you can watch the recorded session. And if you have any questions that was not asked during this session, of course, you can leave a comment or send a direct message to me. So in the first module, you have chosen 3 to 5 business idea projects and 3 to 5 challenges that have AI and leadership components. In the second module, you only choose one, so you can keep working on it until the rest of the program. And you have identified the major challenges within that problem, and you have identified the stakeholders. Now, in the third module is a continuity on the idea that you have chosen in the second module. And the first question will be, how can a leader or multiple leaders help with the challenge? So it depends on the challenge you are solving. For me, at least in AI and most of research and development innovation projects, that's at least my background. I think the leaders, they should have a solid grasp on engineering. So when I say how can a leader or multiple leaders help with the challenge, if you have an engineering mindset, it's relatively easier for you to actually help tackle the challenge, not just allocating resources and making conversation and try to help with, for example, budget issues, budget planning. Sometimes there is obstacles on that project, communication aspects. So most managers will invest most of their time in that aspect. But actually, if you have an understanding of the engineering aspects, not to be an actual engineer, or not actually having those sold hard skills, but when you actually have some understanding of them. This is the purpose of the course. This is why we're actually having this course, because most of you already are in managerial positions. But it's better to have this course, to have more knowledge, to know it will change your perspective of the challenge itself. So how can a leader or multiple leaders output the challenge? The first thing is education. You need, as a leader, to educate yourself. Some leaders, they will be managing teams of hundreds of people. Some leaders, even on this program, they have written a ref on this run of the course and the previous one, they are managing thousands of people. So those leaders can have other leaders within their team to manage. For example, let's say you have 1,000 people that you are overseeing. You will have at least 10 other leaders within your organization. You need to make sure that they get the proper education to tackle that. Now, we know artificial intelligence is software engineering, but is it like developing an ERP system, enterprise resource management planning system, in Java or Java Enterprise Edition? No, it's not the same. So this is the biggest pitfall. One of my managers was from that background. He was a Java developer, a .NET developer, and he was working on big softwares. And then he's one of the people that have started the innovation team, that we were tackling new technologies, but not to criticize him, because he done a relatively good job, but was more beneficial if they understood research and development area, how things are working. So if you are working, for example, in Scrum or Scrumban or whatever you are methodology you are working with, it would be like, can you please develop that feature into this for me? So they come with this same classical software engineering mindset. They'll be like, yeah, give me the algorithm in 2 days. My friend does not work that way. Just reading the research papers, and for me, at some point, I was reading a lot of MIT research paper, not because I'm teaching this program, but you know the reputation of MIT. And they will publish, for example, things about autonomous robots. They will publish things about computer vision, forecasting, prediction, and you need to go through those heavy mathematical research papers. Sometimes they are not math heavy, sometimes they are algorithmically heavy, sometimes the logic is not that cut to the point, and sometimes you are transferring knowledge from one area to another. So I designed an financial anomaly detection system, and it was actually used in IoT. It's one of the engineers in Ericsson, and they were using it in IoT, and I was reading the source code, and it was not the official source code. And then I was like, if it works in IoT, it can work in finance. Of course, I did not tell my project managers. And at least my direct project manager will approve it, because she has a PhD in deep learning, and you can transfer the knowledge. But the top executives, they'll be like, why on earth we are working in an investment bank? Why are they recurring to IoT fields? They are like working with sensors at Ericsson. And this is one of the pitfalls of many leaders. They manage big teams, but the fact they do not get the appropriate training, they cannot see things from a constructive way. And this is not a criticism. These are examples, at least from my past experiences. And this is what I love to see in the assignments. Give me concrete examples that you have seen. For example, the question is really easy. How can a leader or multiple leaders help with a challenge? Maybe you can tell me in vague words, well, they need to be very sensitive to the team. Everybody pretends that. I'm actually working now with a big retail company, and there is the jargon of understanding what is going on, at least at the surface, but failing to understand the mechanism behind that work. So they will throw those big words, which will not work. Now, as harsh things are sounding, it's better to know them, because once you are in the field applying these kind of things, you will be shocked about not having results or spending too much money on things that you thought it will be classical managerial aspect. You allocate some resources and boom, after a couple of weeks, you have already working things. That's not the case. So this is what I love to see in the assignments. Actually, you discussing. I do not want to see the definition from the course, even though you can rely on it to put your answers in the good format, but you are already rich in experiences, and I've been seeing your inputs on RIF about like for module 1, module 2, the discussions. You already have those experiences. Try to rely on them, especially that you actually, most of you will try to apply that in their current job. Now, for the second question, can AI be used to support the leaders in their efforts? First of all, you need to know which effort you are pursuing. So for example, in healthcare industry, you will be designing, for example, a new drug, and you have new drug tests, and you are trying to find a new formula. This is not my field of expertise, but I've been working with a startup in London, and it's about clinical trials, at least that I can talk about. And we have used AI to build a search engine. So what was the objective? The objective is to match patients with the appropriate clinical trials. So you can make your Excel sheets, but the data input will keep on increasing, and you cannot actually find the best recommendations by pressing Control F if you are using a Windows laptop. I don't know on Apple how you do it, by Control F for us at least, and find the best matches. So you need to build an AI system as a search engine or recommendation system. So the effort is finding the best match. Now, how can the AI support the leader? The leader will need a search engine to search specific things, and that will resolve their challenge. So you need to be specific about your model to objective, so you know if AI can be supported to solve that issue. And then how? The how question, I already answered it. If you build a recommendation system, for example, it will recommend to your patients the best clinical trial. Now, for the third question, which is the tough question in this assignment, and not to make you scared, it's tough because you need to answer an additional 3 questions. So given the answers in the previous question, what specific tool can help and how? Reflect on the people, process, and technology. So the first thing are, who are the people needed and what are their skills? So for me, if I have an AI project, first of all, I need to determine if I need a machine learning engineer, a deep learning engineer, a reinforcement learning engineer, an NLP engineer, a computer vision engineer, an expert systems engineer. My friends, these are different. So these are different area of expertise. They all fall under the umbrella of AI. But what I'm seeing in the industry, they will be like, okay, we are looking for machine learning engineer to solve all our issues. No, we need to have an engineer who are specific in that area of expertise. So most of my friends are in the NLP realm. And for me, I was doing time series and sequences. Since I work with the bank, they have a lot of numbers and it's all temporal. And at some point, my team, which was the innovation team, they were asked, they transitioned to text-heavy challenges. So we need questions here.
So,
Yeah, please.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sorry for interrupting, but
No,
the
no, it's
topic,
okay. That's the perfect thing to do.
the topic that you're touching on is one that we're constantly facing, at least in my side of the enterprise, right? When you're talking about, yes, it's not one machine learning engineer, it is a deep learning engineer versus a machine, an NLP engineer, and so on and so forth. These are specializations inside the AI ML space. But as somebody coming in from the industry, here is the biggest thing that I'm finding: the number of these type of people on the open market is extremely low. And even for those that are available, that show up or pop up on the market, they are bid on heavily by your Googles, your Facebooks, and your Amazon for enormous amounts. And yeah, they take the talent away. But as a company that doesn't have access to throw enough money like your Facebooks and your Amazons, right? We still seek to bring in AI ML into our enterprise, right? And the problem that we're facing is this expertise is not there. So what does it mean for us? Does it mean that we have to either start putting enough money out there until we get the right skill set people, or is there like an intermediate where we have to bring in these generic ML folks and slowly understand that they are not hyper specialized in those areas, slowly work through with them to cultivate that expertise, like by doing or implementing in the enterprise? Or is it like even that due to the lack of overall market availability that we have to put or shelve certain projects, put them on the ice until we are at a conducive atmosphere? So what is the the right approach here, specifically given the rarity of these resources?
Okay, this is a great question. But first, can you please let me know where are you based and where are your clients based?
So I work for Kroger. We're a Midwest grocery retail and grocery chain, right? And our clients are, of course, like every odd customer that go shops at your Walmart, your Amazon. They're all are potential markets, right? And Kroger by itself is not a technology company, right? We're not like an Amazon, right? We are a retailer, we are a grocer chain. And but still we are dealing with data in petabytes. We are dealing with massive volumes that can leverage from AI and ML, right? But bringing it to this kind of a scenario where we are of course not able to offer the packages that Facebook or your Amazons throws at engineers, right? So more often than not, what we end up doing is partnering with like third-party companies, right, as implementation partners, right, where we cannot have the talent in-house. We are trying to partner, but again, from based on your experience and your guidelines, is there like hey, if you're coming from this kind of a background and these are the resources at your play, here is how your AI ML strategy should be? Or even in the case that we need to highlight upon the importance of these high valued resources, and tomorrow to create requirements here to bring those people in to show their impact. The question is always going to be like, yep, why is this resource costing so much? Yeah, of course there is a market scarcity for them, but then bringing them in and to show their value to people who haven't experienced AI ML adding that industry value, it's kind of a hard selling point is kind of where we are at. And frankly, like I do get the different specializations do matter when it comes to implementing, bringing the right solution to the right market, to the right problem statement. But again, for finding these people is another challenge that I want to know how I can best articulate to my leadership on, hey, these are the trade-offs. Here is what we need to do, to get what we need.
Okay, so I was wondering where you're based and whom you are working for, because the answer can be different. I know a place, a country, where there is abundance of AI engineers, but not so much AI opportunities. And I know in the US, big tech are messing up the market for the rest of the companies. So they offer big packages and they leave nothing. Even Kroger, they are really big in the US. I think they are the third after Walmart and one of the other major players, CVS, or one of them. They still have budget for it, but the US is a very special case when it comes to the AI, because what big tech are actually doing, they are taking funnily, they are taking more than they need from AI engineers, and the philosophy is let's have the biggest pool so we can leverage it when we need to. So if they need 100, they will hire 150 or 200.
Yep.
And they will deprive the rest of the market. So for the US, in special case, I don't want to say it as an excuse not to answer articulately your question, but here I'll give you my take on it. So I studied in the US. I'm from Tunis. It's a country in North Africa. And we are known for engineering schools. And our second language is French. So guess who are exploiting the Tunisian engineers? Is the French. Most of us, we go to France to work. Maybe Belgium, maybe another speaking French country. But in the past 10 years, we started to look for new countries to work for. And English as our third language. And we succeeded to leverage that for our advantage. So for me now, I'm based in Amsterdam. I don't speak Dutch, but I speak English. So many of us in important numbers are migrating toward destination where they understood that there is shortage of expertise and they need to discover new territories. So for the US, they will rely on Indian expertise, and many of the Indians go to the US, but it's not sufficient. So from where I see it as a leader, and what I can advise leaders is to look for countries where there is untouched territory of engineers. And it does not cost a lot. So it's better to invest in an engineer coming from Tunis than investing in an American engineer, because you can give a reasonable package and you can have an agree territory with engineers from different countries. But those who studied in the US, they would be like, no, that does not work for me. So I noticed many managers and many people who are in the hiring process and hiring companies, they will only focus on one territory. And this could have been a solution, but in the US, things have changed and the immigration policies now are more strict after Donald Trump. And I know that bringing expertise from countries rather than the traditional countries you're bringing expertise from is a bit tricky, but it's something to pursue.
True. No, this is great insight. Definitely, like again, we're thinking about long-term strategies here. It's not like, hey, I need somebody tomorrow, right? Because the more we build this, go into these untapped markets, like you mentioned, I think that would be a viable option. No, thanks for this. Great suggestion.
Yeah, sure, my pleasure. So even here in the Netherlands, they have big shortage of engineers because most. I should be politically correct, but I'm not. Most Dutch graduates are not in engineering or physicians. So you will find big shortage. So if you are sick and you are dying, they have a great healthcare system, but they will put you on a waiting list. They will be like, I'm dying and I can pay more money. Can you please save me? And they will be like, no, I'm actually have been put on 2 months list to just see a doctor. And then I made a mess out of it. I told them this is not acceptable. I have my own money. I can pay for myself. I don't need to wait for you. And they will be like, no, because the system is so close, you cannot do that. The same thing is going on for engineers. So they tell me to bring my friends and my resources from my own country to do that. For that, my friend, you need to make the hiring process a little bit easier. And you need to let the authorities in your country, which is not really possible in the US if you are from a medium-sized company, to put the pressure. But in other countries, that will be the case. You cannot simply put them. I know there are many engineers in Pakistan and it takes them 9 months to immigrate to another country. And I'm talking about immigration here because this is how tech works. They need thousands and thousands of resources. And I know big tech was really mad when Donald Trump was setting those policies. They were like, from where are we going to get our engineers now? This is very politically heavy subject, but let's tap on the other side of it. because I usually focus on the AI part. This time I will focus on the leadership part. As a leader, you need to be open-minded. So going to the traditional resources, my friend, everybody's going to the traditional resources. You need to look for new resources. And one of them is North Africa. So you have like a 30 to 40 million population in Morocco, 30 to 40 million population in Algeria, around 5 million in Libya, and 12 million in Tunis, and 100 million in Egypt. If in every country you extract 10,000, that's really a great deal. Especially in those countries, most engineers can speak English. So for me, I'm not a big leader in a big industry, but I've been in those roles. I will take a look at those untapped resources and consider them, especially even the quality of the language spoken in those countries. They are more Mediterranean, and it's very common for people to speak 3 to 4 languages. For me, I speak 4 languages. It's a big asset, not vouching for my own people, but I'm seeing the struggle, and sometimes keeping an open mind about that is really great. Now, to put some subjectivity to the subject, you also have countries like Romania, Poland, previously Ukraine. Unfortunately, now it's a bit tricky. You have Slovakia. I know Lenovo, they have factories in Slovakia. And in those countries, there are also untapped resources. And now the Europeans are in a vicious, like, how to say it, not vicious, are in a race who's going to hire more from Eastern European countries. So as a leader, I will look up to that, but I know it's really high up the hierarchy for people to make those decisions. And with time, you can make those procedures really easy. At least in Tunis, the relationship between Tunis and the Netherlands engineering side have improved. It used to take a couple of months. Now it only takes 1 month. And that's a big progress. I work for Capgemini. It's a big consultancy. And when those big companies put the effort, they usually get a favorable result. And I'm trying to shy away from the political aspect, but there are solutions, and other solutions are the online consultancy companies. So for me, I work for a physical consultancy company, but the online ones are a solution. And even for my own freedom, I'm considering switching full-time online as a better investment, because the traditional consultancy company, they will charge you an exorbitant amount because they are already putting a lot of money to bring those engineers. So I will look for engineers also in Vietnam. In Thailand, they have tech schools. And if you can extract 1,000 per year, that's really great. I have given also a conference in Indonesia. Polytechnic Jakarta is one of the best. And they have thousands of engineers. Then the question of cultural alignment and integration. Actually, I'm working with a Dutch bank on this kind of aspect, the cultural alignment and integration. Well, which is better, not having an engineer or train an engineer? So the decision is for the executives to do that, and they will eventually do. And that's what history have taught us. They will eventually do.
Yep.
So if you have any other questions, otherwise I will finish the last 2 questions and explain them. And what process do they need to redesign or change? So the leaders, what process they need to redesign or change? And we already talked about one, which is the hiring process. That can be an answer. And what I'm saying here are examples based on my own experience. I do not like to talk in vague. I want to be specific. You hear an actual story, but that's not the actual answer. It's up to you to tailor that based on your own experience to answer the question. Now, the last question is, what technology could be helpful? I always say cloud. I'm seeing a lot of people try to reinvent the wheel. Major cloud providers have 95% of the solution, not 95%, but at least they have frameworks that you can use. For example, you can use TensorFlow, you can use PyTorch to create some really advanced algorithms, but they also have off-the-shelf tools to solve most of AI challenges. And I'm seeing managers who try to reinvent the wheel, and you should not do that. You actually need an advisor, an AI advisor, a position that I really love. I know a lot of products. I can tell you, hey, go with this and go with that, and do not waste your money on this. So recruiting the right people is crucial. You can have like a team of 10 to develop an AI product, and there is already a working product on the market that you can purchase for $50,000 or $100,000, and you have an offshore team that sustain that software for you, instead of hiring 5 or 10 FTEs and then you don't know how you're going to allocate those resources. So this is my take on this third week assignment. If you have any questions, please feel free to unmute yourself and ask it. If you are watching the recorded session, you can comment and send me a DM. Otherwise, I will wait a minute if any of you have a last question.
So one good thing regarding our last week's capstone submission, right? Yeah, I know we've submitted it, that ship has sailed, and we're going to be evaluated, and we're going to continue to work on that. But is it possible for me to grab some of your time and talk through the way we got to that process, as well as look into that and see if there are aspects that we are missing or opportunities that we could have done better, right? Just as a learning pivot from the submission.
Okay. Yes, of course, you can always direct message me. Otherwise, to briefly give more insights, I still only have 1% charge of my phone. If it shut down, that's my battery dying. But yeah, of course, if you want to have a chat about your assignment, that will be possible. But I will advise first having my comments on the assignment that will be available next week. See the comments, go through them, and then you can make your own mind and then get back to me and we can have that discussion.
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah. But thank you so much, guys, for your enthusiasm, and see you next week for the 4th module, Open Office Hours.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
My pleasure.